Hello, folks. Local Crank here, and I have got a theory. Do you want to hear it? Excuse me. Do you have the stomach for it? We gotta read a letter to the editor. Methinks Theo Howard does protest too much. Remember now, as we read this letter to the editor with Theo, talking about the Rev here. He calls the local crank with a theory. Okay. Wow. You know, it might have been a better use of your time there, Theo, to tell the public, David Faber's a nice guy. And what is smart urbanism about? You might say, well, we started that and all the great and groovy things you're going to do. I'm the president of Olympic Housing Trust because and talk about your goodness. Houses are needed at the golf course because, this reason and that reason. How about, I didn't have no history with Homeward Bound, or I don't know nothing about that. Or, I'm a pro bono lawyer, and what did I do to help Jenny Ellison? Oh, hurt her. Am I a do-gooder? Right, he's a liar. Why don't he say, you know what? Here's why the Faber ethics complaint is off. Here's where your thinking is. Do something to calm the public, right? He was going to be a city councilor. Nothing shady about none of that, right? Why doesn't he talk to the public about how great Faber is and how great he is and how great his businesses are and how great Olympic Housing Trust is, instead of using his valuable time in a letter to the editor to trash some cranky, unwell, mentally unstable person named Crystal Cox, which, just happens to be me. So let's take a look at this. It's quite entertaining. Quite entertaining. All right. Careful. Local crank has theory. I have a whole bunch of theories. And my YouTube channel stuff is funny. I have 50 YouTube channels. I've had millions of posts. I got like 10,000 blogs. Locally, I had tons of stuff. Port Townsend content. I had music and spiritual and bands and festivals and for years on YouTube. But, Libby Winstrom, Salish Rescue, all the people connected to the same hive mind as Howard, got them all removed. And so, yeah, I do my spiritual stuff. I do my channeling, do my dancing, do my singing, do my whatever. I don't give no fucks what you guys think of me. So why do you want to attack me personally or make fun of what I do online or say I'm mentally unwell? I have said many times I'm mentally unwell. I have extreme PTSD from the press conference for life. These guys have no conscience and they just want to run over everybody's rights. So what is it that I'm a crank on? What is it that it's my theory? Is it my theory that you're the president of Olympic Housing Trust? Is it my theory you're in business with the mayor? Is it my theory that you wanted to be on city council? Is it my theory that you're at all these, house parties with these same parties, Diamante and Rice and Faber and, this is all theory and speculation from some nut job? If I'm just a crank, why bother even naming me? You're just, giving me more power. You're quantum entangling with me. Not to mention it's a frickin' hoot, right? You're shouting from the rooftops, she's horrible, she's bad, why don't you just tell the public your intentions as the president of Olympic Housing Trust and how great and groovy that is? Your intentions about smart urbanism and how it's nothing to do with this and nothing to do with that. You're a liar. Why don't you give some case law to defend any of it? Instead of just, neener, we don't like that crazy old crank. I mean, these guys' law skills suck. But don't listen to me. I'm just a cranky old, anyway. Wait a minute. Where did this go? Which hole does this go in? All right, well, this isn't my theory, actually. This is a letter to the editor. Are you ready? So, it's even continued. I guess I didn't see the beginning of it. Boy, they let him go on and on, didn't they? Where's the beginning of this sucker? Goodness sakes. Oh, okay. Well, I guess there is a beginning. So we'll read that side first. I missed that. It should be quite entertaining. Okay. Dolson misses the point. The guy who said, Yeah, so she's a witch. So what? Okay, so she's had a good experience with the Proud Boys. Okay, so what? Yeah, Trent's letter should have been in there. It gives a perspective. Yeah, it gives a perspective. It gives a perspective of what the whole hive mind's saying about me, right? And he says in here, oh, she's not a journalist or whatever. They just tone deaf, right? I have a Ninth Circuit ruling. I have equal rights to any journalist, and so do you. These guys are lawyers. They wouldn't know case law if I bit him in the batoot. Okay, so I'd like to thank Eric Dolson for his letter, Complexities of Journalism. Passive aggressive. What's the psychological term for that? Anyway, published in the Leader, September 4th edition, blah, blah, blah. It's an excellent primer on the ideological rot of false objectivity by which journalists and editors from the Leader to the New York Times justify acting as stenographers for the far right. Okay, right. Again, letting conservatives have an equal voice in Port Townsend is important. You guys just run over their rights. What you did at the press conference shows that you have no respect for liberals either who view different than you. You're a dangerous, violent hive mind and running the nonprofits, right? You're a do-gooder lawyer. I know what you did to Jenny Ellison, okay? You didn't help her. I'm going to leave that there for now. Okay. I mean, what a vomitous. Ugh, okay. Through the facts, prestige of professional journalism. There's no such thing as professional journalism. Mr. Dolson completely misses the point here. The issue is not whether Crystal Cox sincerely felt welcomed by the Proud Boys. It's that she's on the same side as the fascist organization. Okay. The Pride community, friends of Theo, friends of the mayor, they're the bad guys. They're the terrorists. They're the bullies. They're the ones that hit and kicked and threw fits and threatened death and told us to get out of the Times Square, not the Proud Boys. The Proud Boys came to town with Washington 3% to protect the Port Townsend lesbians such as myself and the other women that spoke so we wouldn't be mauled by you. I don't have friends that are Proud Boys. I don't have friends that are conservatives. I don't have friends that are liberals. I don't hang out with any of y'all. I do my own thing. Okay, there's conservatives around here who are just as vile as some of you in the hive mind, okay, and they let me know. I don't need anyone's approval. Okay, so as far as fascists and bigot, you need to look up the definition because that's what the people that were against Julie Jamon that attacked us are. So you thinking I'm on the side of the Proud Boys, do you even know? Do you know any Proud Boys? Do you know what they really do? Are you confusing them with, say, Rose City white nationalists? Do you know the nuances and the differences between any of this? Do you know what TERF means? Do you know what Nazi means? Do you know what bigot means? You think that I'm supporting the Proud Boys because I stated a fact, an obvious, flat out, 100% non-crank, true fact that the Proud Boys come to town with Washington 3% to protect this big old dyke so I could speak downtown in my own community. Because you guys are rabid and mean and non-inclusive. You guys are the bad guys. You guys are the terrorists. You guys are the people that beat up old ladies because they didn't understand the newest thing. And you scream at rape survivors. You guys are disgusting. What you did is vile. I'm not supporting the Proud Boys, and I'm not supporting you. I'm not supporting anybody. I'm stating the frickin' fact. The Proud Boys in Washington 3% protected us from the violent Port Townsend community. The bigots, the fascists, the non-inclusive, prejudiced people that hate people, they label as TERFs. I had no idea what it even meant. And I've never considered myself a feminist, and I've never been trans exclusive. You judged and labeled who we were, and you attacked us. That's bigot. That's fascism. All right? So whatever your beef is with the Proud Boys, I don't think you even know what the Proud Boys are. Okay, have you done your homework? And are there some radical Proud Boys? You bet. Some radical conservative, radical left. There's radicals everywhere. I don't believe in any groups. I believe in divine sovereign individuality. So I'm not supporting the organization of the Proud Boys. I'm not supporting any organization. I'm supporting human rights for all individually. Now, Theo's fit here is really telling, right? He has a whole bunch of space here in the paper in this letter to the editor. And instead of telling you what smart urbanism is, what his intentions are, who cares about Crystal Cox? I'll be out of the paper soon. Whatever happens with the Faber thing, just whatever. But he's in the public eye. He's a pro bono lawyer, so he's out there all the time. He's the president of Olympic Housing Trust. He's part of all their group, part of all their stuff. He's in business with the mayor. He wanted to be a council member. His resume's out there on city council. So why not take this time as a letter to the editor to promote who you are and your businesses and your intentions instead of some crazy old crank that no one's even going to care about? I'm not part of your guys' system. Why aren't you using this time to talk about something that's important to people? Why don't you use your letter to the editor to discredit what I've said about you and the mayor and money laundering and Olympic housing and homeward bound and lodging tax and some case law? Why just use your precious time here in the letter to the editor to just trash some crazy old unwell crank with a theory? It doesn't make any logical sense to me. But then again, I'm unwell. So, Okay. The issue is not whether she felt welcome. It's that she's on the same side as the organization. What side is that? The side that women have the right to speak at a permanent event in Port Townsend? The side that an 80-year-old woman has a right to say, do you have a penis? I've been asked that no less than 1,000 times in my life. Julie Jaman has equal rights to any of y'all, okay? Those rape survivors and lesbians, those women had a right to speak at a permanent event in Port Townsend. So is that the side I'm on? Yeah, I guess we were on the same side of the issue that day, okay? Which was against you guys attacking us violently and shutting down our rights. Yeah, I guess you're right there. Ugh. Okay. The public should know that Cox's vendetta against Mayor Faber and others on the city council is primarily motivated by their standing up for the dignity and rights of trans people. They don't listen. Nobody listens. I said this a million times. I've stood up for trans people. I'm the one that's went to court and stood up for trans people downtown that was being abused. I don't have any issue with trans people. I felt like more male than female most of my life. I was not against trans individuals. If you listen to any of my speeches, you would have seen it was about real values of pride. It was about not bullying. It was about individual rights. Okay? To say that I have a vendetta against Faber because I'm anti-trans, right? It's dumb. It's ignorant. I do have a vendetta. The vendetta I have is to expose evil people. I guess you haven't been well enough or could stomach enough of my videos to see how I originally knew of Mayor David Faber. I was fighting to save a homeless man's life because the city took his dog. I'm crying in video. I'm begging for help. I'm telling the truth. And Faber comes in, a man named David Faber, and sexualizes my comment. I remembered his name. So when I saw him going after Amy on Twitter, just disgusting comments. Yeah, I took note of the issue. Pretty disgusting. So yeah, Faber's unfit to lead. He's a bad and evil man. My vendetta is nothing to do with being anti-trans. You guys can yell it from every fucking roof in the whole world I'm anti-trans. You can say I have 6 heads. I'm not anti-anything, okay? I'm pro-human rights. What you did to Julie Jaman is wrong. What you did to those of us trying to speak that night is wrong. Keeping us out of a city council meeting is wrong. So if I file an ethics complaint because I got a vendetta against the mayor, does that mean 1 and 1's not 2? And so if I got a vendetta and I'm anti-trans, that means you're not in business with the mayor? I mean, where's the logic in this? A personal vendetta. I've been doing this for 20 years. And in Port Townsend, I've been filing complaints and standing up for people for 10 years. Okay, I had my church had a business downtown, commercial space downtown, 2014. I had one out here in Hadlock. I've been helping people for a long time. You don't know anything about me. So whatever you're making up about me being anti-trans, that's, where's that coming from? It's coming from your own made-up mind and your own hive mind. Okay? I don't care what your sexuality is. I care that you're using it to hurt people. Trans people do not have more rights than Julie Jaman. One trans individual doesn't have any rights over another trans individual. You don't have a right to shut down one permitted event in Port Townsend and say, oh, we're the good guys, and wouldn't like that if they shut down your event. Okay, use your big brain. Use your big noggin. You know, your big noggin here. Mr. wants to just trash me, and that's your defense for the mayor. Oh my God, these people are lawyers. It's scary. Okay, so the public should know that Cox's vendetta against Mayor David Faber and others on the city council is primarily motivated by their standing up for the dignity and rights of trans people. Flat out wrong, okay? I've read the records. They incited violence. They did horrible things to those of us who went to speak for women's rights, for rape survivors. Okay, he's wrong. He's flat out wrong. Okay, the complaint is simply one piece of her hateful crusade. Okay, so have you ever read any of my complaints? Or could you stomach it? Everything I've ever said is 100% true, to the best of my ability. There's nothing hateful in standing up for what is right, standing up for the truth. You, however, are hateful. You're hateful against those who believe different than you. You're bigoted. This shows just how ignorant you are. You have this valuable space, and I just see it on the top of it. It says, leader coverage of Cox complaint leaves out context that she lacks credibility. Hey, I have no credibility. I don't need any credibility. I don't want any credibility. I've fought for people's rights, for victims' rights, like with the Michael Allman case. Michael Allman case, chronology.blogspot.com. You guys are attorneys, right? There was a court order to return the dog, and the dog wasn't returned. The man nearly died over it. I'm pointing to actual documents that you could read with your big old noggin. I don't need credibility. If you like me, then you're going to listen to me. Okay, so if I tell you, hey, there's a man over there with a gun, he's going to shoot you, do I have to have credibility for you to believe me? Right? I'm standing up for victims. I'm giving a voice to truth and facts. I'm posting public records. And I have no credibility? So what? So what? What does that got to do with anything? Well, she doesn't have credibility. If only I had credibility. I'm just a crank, just an old lady crank. All right. So Mr. Dolson asks the leader should simply have not covered the complaint. Well, yes, he says yes, the leader should have. But the leader should have said, local crank has theory. Local crank has theory. Should not be front page news. I would invite anyone with the stomach for it to watch some of the video blogs on Cox's YouTube channel. Right. And I've had, like I said, I have 40 of them, or 50. I've had them for 20 years. Most of my content's been shut down. I've had stuff from forestry, spirituality, healing, real estate, you name it. Different products I was selling over the years, different lesbian stuff when I was in Boulder, stuff when I was in the Yucatan, stuff when I was in Ireland. I mean, what are you exactly looking at? And if you just want to just say I'm mentally unwell because you don't like my spiritual stuff or my channeling or my singing or my dancing, I already died. I don't give no fucks. I died in the streets of Port Townsend. I've died. I went out to the sea. I've left my body. I know life. I know death. And I know what's sacred and what's real. I'm not looking for you to think I'm credible. And if you just want to just make fun of my YouTube videos and me just kind of being myself, that's all we need to know about you. You just want to make fun of people who are different, people who are mentally unwell, people who have a spiritual passion, people who make content and have fun and enjoy it. That's what you're all about? And you're the president of some do-gooder thing? You seriously lack credibility. Absolutely. All right, so headline, local crank has theory. Woo! Oh my goodness. I would invite anyone with a stomach for it to check out some of her video blogs. Yes, take your Dramamine, take all your anti-nausea if you're going to watch my videos, especially my dancing videos and stuff, because, local crank has theory. I'm not a medical professional, but he's going to give his medical advice on me, right? I do have a mental illness from the press conference. I am mentally unwell. You want to make fun of people that have mental unwellness? What have you been doing to help Jenny Ellison, right? You were referred to her, right, by the state agencies, and you just ignored her, right, Mr. Do-Gooder? I think that Theo Howard is showing us who he really is, and I don't think he should be part of any nonprofit that's proclaiming to do good. I think he should have said maybe something about me, maybe like, regarding that Crystal Cox complaint against the mayor and talking about smart urbanism, talk about it. Reassure the public on what it is and your good intentions and just how great you are. Instead of trashing someone for their mental health, for their YouTube videos, this is productive. He's an attorney. He's in with all the affordable housing stuff. He represents people in evictions. He's supposed to be some do-gooder pro bono attorney. This guy's a monster. I mean, seriously, serious waste of breath here. All right, so he's not a medical expert, but but I think most viewers can intuitively sense that this is an unwell person. He's very unwell. Very unwell. And give no fucks what you think about it. So what if I'm unwell? So what if I'm not credible? Okay, well, I'm incredible. Many people only glance at the headlines, and few will independently research an article's claims. That's exactly what you're doing. I've spent 2 years, every second of every day, researching the public records. I know what's going on around the press conference. I know what Faber did. I know who he is. I've done my homework and my research way past the headlines that Faber thought would go away. He told us we had a mind of a goldfish, right? I did the homework. I found the PR company that the city hired. I found all of the different connections. I've made the cases. I've done the research beyond the headlines. And yeah, I hope people do. I hope people get a whole bunch of public records and see everything I filed over the last 2 years and the last 5 years and perhaps even the last 10 years. Everything I've stated is 100% fact. It sounds like you're the one that needs to do your research. Many people only glance at the headlines and few will independently research an article's claims, such as, Mr. Theo. The complaint may be meritless, but because the leader has reported on it without providing the context that the complainant lacks credibility, people are left with a vague impression that allegations exist. Okay, so what the Port Townsend leader should have said is, there was a complaint filed by a local crank. She has a theory and she lacks credibility. Now, let's talk about it. And then when the ethics officer comes back and says something, then we're going to say, he's another crank and he's got another bad theories, okay? That'd make a pretty big title, but that's pretty much what he's suggesting. Okay, so the leader should not be giving me credibility. Okay, the complaint may be meritless, but because the leader has reported on it without providing the context that the complainant lacks credibility, who cares? Who cares? People are left with a vague impression that allegations exist. Public trust is eroded further in the pursuit of engagement. Okay. So perhaps a better title here, Theo, would have been Public Trust in the Faber Complaint. And then you tell people why I'm wrong. Do you not know this? The only thing, maybe have an opinion or two about me, just a tiny, tiny little bit in here. And take the time to blow me out of the water with all of it by saying smart urbanism was started because of the passion of this, and here's the good things we're going to do. And this is my business, the mayor. It's no conflict. I wanted to be a counselor because of this. I'm president of Olympic Housing Trust because of this and this. I have no conflicts of interest with Faber. I've never been involved in money laundering. I wasn't around with Homeward Bound. I don't know nothing about it. Like, you need me to be your PR agent, right? Why not tell the people who you are and what you're about? Okay, they already all think I'm crazy, right? You don't need to be like doubling down on, she's crazy and not credible. I mean, the whole freaking internet says I'm crazy, right? We'll state the obvious, she's crazy and she's not credible. Who cares about Crystal Cox? Why don't you tell them who you are? Right? You're just showing your guilt here. Or, in some circles they call it, you're showing your ass. Okay, so, Cox facts may be irrelevancy we can all ignore. Yeah, you've been ignoring me for years. A lot of people suffered. Two homeless people I knew that I tried to fight for did kill themselves. Your guys is ignoring someone who's standing up for strangers. That's working out real well. You guys are the dark. You're the bad guy. You are the bad guy. Say it again. Say it again. Say it again. No, I'm just credible. I'm not credible. I'm a crank. We're a controversial figure, right? I'm a controversial figure. You're the bad guy! No matter how fucking crazy I am, you're the one that's hurting people and killing people and running people out of town. Check your mirror and check yourself. You're the bad guy. Hello? I'm just a crazy old local crank. But this same stenography masquerading as journalism, who's the problem? Are they saying that the leader is the problem for for impersonating journalism, or me? Because everyone has equal rights as a journalist, okay? Showing you documented facts and public records. And so what if I had a theory? If I had a theory that, perhaps that I could have a theory about anything in Port Townsend. I mean, people have theories and they're in the paper all the time. Why do you hate me so much and my theories? Unless, you're guilty. Why don't you just ignore me? I think we know why. All right, masquerading as journalism is precisely what, at the national level, has helped legitimate Donald Trump and his associates in public discourse. No, what has legitimized Trump is the truth. Trump has exposed corruption. Trump was a Democrat, then Trump was a Republican. This isn't right or left, okay? I've said this before. Vote red no matter who or blue no matter who is just, it's sick. It's wrong. I fought corruption for decades, and what Trump's bringing down, and the reason he's getting legitimacy is because everything that he's said is proven fact. Okay, this is about light and dark. This is about bringing down corruption. This is about stopping human trafficking. This is about the right to try to bring in peers. This is about sovereign individual rights, state rights, constitutional rights, human rights. That's what's give Trump legitimacy, because he's legitimate. He's given the rights back to the people. And all you guys out there spreading all these lies about who Trump is and what he's about, or that we all worship in. No. And I don't belong to a political party or any group mind. What Trump's exposing, I've been working on for decades. I've been doing investigative blogging for some of the biggest companies in the world. I've done it on my own for decades. The corruption was so deep, and Trump's bringing that down and exposing it. So anyway, there's that little. In public discourse, keeping them dangerously close to power. Theo Howard, Port Townsend. Dangerously close to power. Right. What we want here is Mayor David Faber to keep all that power so he can be a dictator and not listen to the entire freaking community that doesn't want houses on the golf course and do what he wants, right? We want fascists and bigots and dictators, and we want to call them, the loving and supporting. The only thing to really say about this article is, it speaks for itself. Theo Howard should have explained to the public what smart urbanism is. Theo should have explained to the public who he is and what he's about. He's working with you guys. He's hurting people. He's a lawyer helping people that are mentally unwell with evictions. The Clear network that helps folks that have mental issues and evictions, and they recommended Theo. And this is how cruel he is to people that have mental health issues. This is a dangerous man. This is the kind of man that incites violence on women and hurts women. He doesn't look like the type. Clearly he is. He's very abusive. Why is he in business with Faber? Why does his the property tax information go to Faber's house. Why did he start smart urbanism? Talk about it. Talk about how wonderful it is to be the president of Olympic Housing Trust. Talk about some of the cool and groovy things that you do with your lawyer stuff. But you can't, because all your stuff is bad and hurts people. So instead of bragging about it, you just want to diss me. Well, I don't really give a fuck. Okay, you're nobody. I had a vision. And I don't care what you believe or how you can stomach it. Spirit showed me smart urbanism and showed me some things about the golf course. And I looked it up. And I wrote a complaint, and it had a mind of its own. You're in business with the mayor. In a for-profit business. He used a city newsletter and the newspaper to promote Olympic Housing Trust, where you're the president. Then you wanted to be a city councilor. Nothing shady about none of that. You're at house parties or orgies or whatever they are. With Trent Diamante, with Faber, with Paul Rice. Same people that got the 1.4 million in what I call money laundering, called the biggest taxpayer fraud in Port Townsend. And all you can do is name call some local crank that nobody gives no fucks about. Yeah. That's a pretty bright there. Pretty bright. Local crank has theory. Theo does protest too much.